Welcome to another edition of What the Fatah. As usual, and as predicted, the monster that is China, not having satisfied with the chaos it has created around the world with his Wuhan virus and the ability to take over any country or its ports or its physical presence in Africa, Latin America. It has become the new East India Company. And for India, the goals of China are particularly clear. India stands as the main obstacle in as a democratic nation, as a place where there is a 70-year-old tradition of democracy, where parties exist, where healthy debate takes place. And that is something quite unique anywhere in the developing world. You can have, a situation like Sudan. You can have anything like that, where there's a difference of opinion. You can have a civil wars in Syria. But India is a place that, by its very nature, allows for, at times, a very unhealthy debate, but nevertheless, elections every time with electronic voting, with very little voter fraud, and a change in government if the people deem so. China, on the other hand, is a new bully on the street that makes alliances with fellow autocrats. And in our region, in the Pakistani subcontinent and South Asia, or beyond that, autocrats are aplenty. If you name it, other than India and Bangladesh, there are no places where there is an election taking place or where there can be opposition parties. Pakistan is right there, almost like a slave state to China, selling its land, its people, its resources to the enemy, which to enemy of Islam, and thus gets exposed for what Pakistan is, and its prime focus being anything that is anti-Hindu, anti-India, anti-Hindustan. Pakistanis will be more than happy to make partners with a country like that. And so now China has come up in its worldwide reach, and its desire to be the world's only superpower is something called the hypersonic missiles. These are missiles launched in upper space. The Soviet Union has one, or may I say, Russia has it, the United States has it. India is also about to develop. People say by 2023, India would have its own hypersonic, but it throws a new curve in military relations and threatens other countries who don't have it. And in this, India needs to be extremely careful. If Indians don't realize that the only obstacle that China faces is the Republic of India, not the United States. The United States can, politicians, Hunter Biden is sitting right there. Daddy is making all the moves. His son is executing them. That will happen. But India is right on the border with China. And as much as we say, oh, our troops will, manage it, remember that China is a dictatorial country with overwhelming forces. And on the other hand, India is a democracy and therefore limited in what it can do by the time it makes a policy of how to defend and how to counterattack the moves by China. China, if you recall and realize, is linked up with the Maldives, with Sri Lanka, with Bangladesh, with Pakistan, is active in the South China Sea, has its eyes on Taiwan, which it threatens to invade, also within reach, the Philippines, and countries to the south like Cambodia or Vietnam. China is an existential threat to human civilization in its desire to overtake everything within its reach. And this is where India carries a responsibility. Unless and until the Indian mindset develops to the extent that we will stand up and fight and not just delegate this to the army, that each one of India's billion people are willing to focus their attention and say the threat is from the north with allies on the east and west. You will have to risk all to defend what you have accomplished in 5,000 years. Despite Mongols to the Mughals to the Turks, Central Asians invading and occupying India, the Dutch, the Portuguese, the French, and of course the British, we have existed along and continue to exist as a healthy human civilization, other than as a country alone. But there are times when we need to recognize our vulnerabilities. And I would like to make a suggestion to people who are listening to this or understand the seriousness of affairs, that India today should introduce compulsory military training for a 6-month period for every male adult before he or she goes on to enjoy his or her privilege in society, whether they are the pappus of the highest order or they are the working class people in the villages, farmers. Each one of them has to experience living and existing like the ordinary soldier to understand that this is what it takes. Look at other countries like Israel, surrounded by 14 other combatant nations, has had compulsory military service where you cannot be a general if you've never been a Sipahi. So it's not that some people choose the option of joining the army. It is every citizen has to go through, man and woman, has to go through this living, sleeping, eating with those who are professional soldiers and living through the discomfort, not just simply getting a visa, escaping to the United States and making money over there, which NRIs are quite famous at doing. We need a situation where some of the richest in India would have to sleep on the ground and eat the same food as the most ordinary soldier who doesn't go to 5-star hotels for kitty parties, what they eat and what they have to survive. If India cannot generate this sense of defense of their country, they will not be taken seriously. Because in this day and age, the image of a country matters most. Prime Minister Modi has gone to great lengths to improving the image that India today has. At the G20, talking on equal terms with countries that are fundamentally autocratic, like Turkey, or there are other examples in the developing world. Thank God Pakistan is not there, because I think Saudi Arabia is there. So Pakistan doesn't have that Rona Dhona that we are suffocating and India is the enemy, and that nonsense is not there. But India is not seen as a robust country that will not take nonsense for an answer. While China is, whether it is China's entry into Myanmar, Burma, is in Bangladesh, through Chittagong, to Pakistan, to Sri Lanka, through Maldives, through East Africa. China is everywhere. India cannot just benefit by trade. India's image has to be that of the person who will never ever accept bullying in his or her backyard. तो मेरी गुजारिश हिंदुस्तान के जो लीडर हैं या जो सोचने समझने वाले लोग हैं उनसे ये है कि खुदा के वास्ते इंडिया के अंदर हिंदुस्तान में कंपल्सरी मिलिट्री ट्रेनिंग 6-6 महीने की हर एक की करें, ताकि ये ना हो कि हमारे बस गुरखे लड़ लेते हैं या वो जो पंजाब रेजिमेंट है वो कुछ कर लेगी या मद्रास राइफल्स जो हैं उनकी ट्रेडिशन देखिए. Unless every Indian has gone through the rigors of military defense and living as a soldier, they will not appreciate what it is to be designated as someone specially allocated to defend the borders of India. And India's borders are always under attack. As you may know, how many soldiers have died in the last, this current year, even during the pandemic. The Pakistanis have been at it. China has had skirmishes. We can say that we gave as good as it gets. But the other side must think that हिंदुस्तानी के साथ पंगा लिया तो बहुत मुसीबत होगी. ये एहसास जब तक नहीं होगा कि भाई इनसे झगड़े वगड़े की बात नहीं करो, हिंदुस्तानी बड़े लड़ैया, इनकी सही ना जाए मार, जब तक ये जहन में नहीं आएगा हर एक आपको बुली करेगा. मेरी दरखास्त है कि ये हाइपरसोनिक मिसाइल और ये सब कुछ जो हो रहा है ये तो एक लेवल की है लड़ाई, लेकिन जो लड़ाई आइडियाज की है, हम कॉल सेंटर वाले और आईटी के लीडर और एमबीए में टॉप क्लास और आईआईटी के ग्रेजुएट करके आप सब कुछ कर लीजिए, आपकी सिर्फ उस वक्त कदर होगी जब लोगों को पता होगा कि 26/11 के बाद की हरकत का नतीजा क्या था. अब देखा जाए तो आप स्टडी कर लीजिए. The attack on Mumbai led to absolutely no retaliation by India, none whatsoever. और बाद में हो गया, एक दो अपने अटैक कर दिए, nothing. But the deterrent comes when people see Bhartis and Hindustanis as a group of folks who, with multiple languages and multiple cultures and religions, are like a fist. When clenched together, nobody dared look at the coastlines, whether on the Bay of Bengal or the Arabian Sea. ये चाइनीज अपनी सबमरीन लेके आए जाएं गवादर से, गवादर should be your warning. It could have been an Indian territory. वो नरमी गर्मी के अंदर आपने किस टाइप की चीज गंवा दी, ये बच्चों को पढ़ाना भी चाहिए कि it was offered to India and India said नहीं चाहिए भैया, ये कहाँ गवादर, पता नहीं किस टाइप के बलोच लोग होते. And so it was sold off to Pakistan by the Sultanate of Oman, which actually, whose territory is Gwadar. So my request is, if you hear this, talk about it. Talk to your MPs. Talk to your opinion leaders, your professors, your academics, your parents, or your children. Why is it that India doesn't have compulsory military service for every citizen? Many countries have it. United States used to have it. People who didn't want to fight, they would run away to Canada. Well, most of you don't remember the Vietnam days. But generally, every citizen has to join, irrespective of class or color, to defend and tell the enemy that we are prepared for you. امن کی آشا نہیں چلے گی. The people who throw dust in your eyes, whether it's Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai or Aman Ki Asha, their eyes are aimed at the destruction of Hindustan because Hindustan is the only democracy in the developing world and will be in the UN Security Council at some stage. उसको रोकने के लिए चाइना बैठा हुआ. And to stop China, India has to have a robust hypersonic state of mind. Rocket to aap bana lenge, lekin your mind has to be hypersonic. People should fear taking aim at your interests. And just because you're an NRI sitting in the United States and England, for heaven's sake, do something for your motherland as well. कितना कमा लेंगे आप लोग? एंड में तो मर ही जाएंगे ना. वो पैसा कहाँ जाएगा सारा? ठीक है, try to be as rich as possible, but do something elsewhere where you're looked upon as a people of great pride in their civilization who will one day take over Mohenjo-daro, Takshila, the river Indus and Sindh, जहां से नाम सिंध, हिंद और हिंदुस्तान पैदा हुआ. No country on earth would allow its origin. Britain cannot live without having the river Thames and London. France can't be France without Paris. So how can India be India without the Indus? Make a claim on that. जैसे मैं कहता हूं, बिना सिंध हिंद मुकम्मल ही नहीं है. उसके लिए थोड़ा जज्बा पैदा कीजिए और थोड़ी बहुत गुंडागर्दी का मिजाज होना चाहिए. ये शरीफ पप्पुओं की तरह डर जाना, बच्चे को सफेद रखना, बेटियों को फेयर एंड लवली क्रीम लगाना, खुदा के वास्ते छोड़ दीजिए. और एक पार्टिंग बात मैं आपसे कह रहा हूं, लफ्ज शहीद को छोड़ दीजिए. शहीद वो होता है जो मुसलमान के हाथों मरता है मैदान जंग में. आपको बेवकूफ बना के हिंदुस्तान की लीडरशिप ने, जो नेहरू साहब की थी, लफ्ज शहीद आपको दे दिया. आप कैसे शहीद होंगे? गाजियाबाद आपने बना दिया. गाजियाबाद का मतलब है वो जगह जहां मुसलमानों ने हिंदुओं को मार के फिर भी अपनी जिंदगी जारी रखी. आपके यहाँ दिल्ली में गाजियाबाद. So you need to wake up with all these things without being anything other than nationalistic, to protect not your country but your civilization. बहुत पुरानी है ये. ओरिजिनल लिखाई तो अभी तक पढ़ी नहीं जा सकी मोहनजोदारो की क्या. उसकी खातिर अपने आप को कमिट करिए कि चीन आइंदा कभी नजर ना उठा के देख सके, whether it is looking through hypersonic glasses or short-sightedness. Make their hypersonic missile into a short-sighted eyeglass, ताकि वो करीब का ही देख सकें अपना, दूसरी का हिमालय की पार ना देख पाए. वहां तो आइस एज भी नहीं आई कभी इंडिया में. याद रखिए, पूरी दुनिया hundreds of thousands years के अंदर आइस एज में मारी जा चुकी, सिवाय हिंदुस्तान के, क्योंकि हिमालय खड़ा रहा हमेशा. कुछ आपको वापस भी देना होगा. अगली दफा के लिए इजाजत दीजिए. शब बखैर. जय हिंद.